Hi, and welcome to my channel. When I first started thinking about making this, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with it. I have no idea what I could offer that would be beneficial to anybody. Um, I don't have any particular talents. I can't juggle, I can't do magic, I can't draw. I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. I don't have any special skills in music. I'm still learning how to play guitar myself. I play video games, but that's, I could help you out, but it's not anything I do a tutorial on. I don't even do makeup or hair care, so not that I would, but still, there's not a whole lot I could offer. I sat down and I started thinking about this. What could I do with this channel that somebody might find interesting? And as I'm talking it over, as I'm thinking it through, other ideas started to pop up. And it usually these ideas pop up anytime I start thinking things through. For example, I'm a writer. I haven't published anything yet, but I'm trying to change that. When I get stuck in my writing, I start to, I step back and I start talking through the problem I'm having. My main character is faced with this problem. How do I get him out of that problem? How do I get him out of that situation? And as I'm talking through this, other ideas start popping up. And it's usually things that are happening in the world now that I get irritated at and I have no control over. I don't have that voice that a lot of others do, where they can, stand on their soapbox and preach about the problems they're facing. I don't have a whole lot of information or a whole lot of knowledge on the inner workings of things. I know a little bit about everything, but not enough to make it worthwhile. I've got a head that's full of garbage. It's great for story writing, but not much of anything else. And so I started thinking that maybe I would use this as a way of being a video journal on things that I'm going through. Not that my life is very important, but you never know. There could be somebody who is interested. Like, for example, in April, I plan on making a major life change. It is something that I'm excited about, but it's also something I'm really scared over. I'm going to roll the dice and see what happens. But in a nutshell, I have met a wonderful woman, and I plan on spending my life with her. Problem is, she's halfway around the world. So I'm going to leave my home, leave my country, and go be with her. Now, moving that far, that scares me. Moving to another state, I'm from the United States. Moving to another state, that's not a problem. I've done that before. I've moved cross country. When I was 18, I joined the Army, and I was sent to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for basic training on the other side of the country. That's not a problem. I can handle that. But this is moving to an entirely new country. A whole new situation, new language to learn, new social customs, new food, new everything. And then that scares me. What if it doesn't work out? What if once I get there, all hell breaks loose? What if I get to her home country and all of a sudden there's a massive revolution, and all foreigners, which I will be one, is taken prisoner and used as a bargaining chip. I know that wouldn't happen. Okay, that's more of a story type scenario, but still, there is the fear of the unknown, and that's what I'm getting at here. I start to talk things through, and other ideas pop up. For example, with this, just talking about this, one example I had, or one problem that has popped up, is the situation that's currently happening in the United States with our election. Now, if you're anywhere in the free world, you know that we had an election, and the guy that was in power is not going to be in power come January. Now, whether you love him or hate him, I'm not here to judge you. But the almighty Cheeto dictator did have a good idea on the slogan that he ran with. He ran on the slogan of "Make America Great Again." Only problem is you need to define when was America great. And there's been times when America was great, but what time are you aiming for? The two most likely ones would be either post World War II, when the GIs were coming back home, and the United States was a industrialized powerhouse of creation. Or it could be during the Reagan administration in the 80s. But again, he needs to define what his definition of great is. It'd be like you say, I'm going to build a great house. What's the definition of great? What's going to make the house great? Just because it's got 4 walls and a roof does not make the house great. See, you've got to define what that greatness is. And that's one thing he never did. He did, I'm going to make America great. But then he started doing things that made the rest of the world hate us. We actually, because of his leadership, we became the punchline to the world's joke. So yeah, we need to make America great again, but we need to have some sort of a plan. And I've actually thought about this, but I don't have a plan. I've got a generalized idea of what we can do, but not a set plan. One thing that I think we can do is not, make the elected jobs temp jobs. I mean, the only one that has an actual set term limit is the president. He's limited to 2 terms, each term 4 years. Okay, the senator can be a senator for 6 years, but he has to run for re-election. The representative in the House of Representatives is only good for 2 years, but again, he has to run for re-election. And as long as they keep getting elected, they can stay in that position until the day they die. Even the vice president does not have a set term. His term is unlimited. As long as, if like with this last election, Trump lost the election, okay? If Biden, who's coming in, who won the election, was to ask Mike Pence, the vice president, I like what you did, how about you be my running mate? And if Pence said yes, he could stay on. If Biden was elected, like he was, Pence would stay on as vice president. And he can keep doing that with every successor that comes in, as long as that successor asks him to be his running mate. The term limits, of the vice president is it's unlimited. And I think positions like that are very dangerous, because you start losing touch with constituents. You get a senator who's, say, 75 years old, which is not unheard of. Okay. Say he's the senator of West Virginia. We'll just use that for an example. Okay. He now is the senator for people who are 18 just starting out to vote. 75 years old, has no idea what an 18-year-old is going through. He has no idea what an 18-year-old needs. But yet, he is going to speak for that state. You're too far removed. I mean, you know what your generation needs. You know what people of your age needs because you need it. But you have no idea what the younger needs. So I think there should be a limit. There should be a cap on how long you could be senator, how long you can be in the House of Representatives. So we've always got fresh blood coming in, fresh ideas, fresh voices. We've got people who are in touch with the younger generations, who have an idea on what they're going through, what they're going to need. Another one is the Supreme Court justices. Okay, with them, you are there for life. Plain and simple. Once you are appointed, once you are confirmed, you are there for life. Unless you do something that is grossly negligent or criminal. You are there as long as there's good behavior. Otherwise, until you die or until you retire, you've got a job for life. And I think that knowing that you have a job for life, you become complacent. You start thinking more of your future rather than the job that you're hired to do. And their job is to hear out laws, questionable cases, and define what is legal and what isn't in this country. Almost every politician, once they get into office, they start listening to the special interest groups, the people who can contribute a lot of money to their accounts, to their campaign funds. Those are the people that they're fighting for, not the small little guy. You cannot have an honest politician. It's impossible. Because you get a guy who is honest, who speaks the truth, who never lies, who always does what he says, and he will be destroyed in Congress. He'll be destroyed in any elected office. Because for some reason we can't have people who actually keep their promises. I don't know about you, but if I had a politician who said, I promise that I will put a chicken in every pot and a car in every driveway, which actually was a campaign promise from a president way back when, that's what I would expect. I would expect the president to put food in my house, to make certain I'm able to get a car. And if they can't keep the promise, find somebody who will. Honestly, that's how it should be. But it goes against tradition. Another thing we should do is cut their pay. Now, the average American gets about $60,000 to $65,000. Like I said, that's average. The starting elected official, House Representatives or Senator, it's about $150,000, $160,000. Okay, that's a lot more than just the average American. And the average American, that's after years of work too. All right, so they've got years of experience doing this stuff. These are people who are just freshly elected to office, who are getting $150,000. And they say that minimum wage is fine. Minimum wage, federal minimum wage, is $7.25. That is federal minimum wage, not state. State is a little bit different. Okay, but state cannot go below federal. So we go with just the federal minimum wage, which is what the politicians base everything off of. They say that the average American can live on federal minimum wage. And when minimum wage was first introduced, it was designed to give the average American a decent life. Not an extravagant life. You can't go and buy a 4-story house with an Olympic-sized pool in the backyard and 4 cars in your garage. No, this is to basically live comfortably, to know that your bills are paid, food's on the table, clothes are on your back. That's what minimum wage was initially set up for. Now, the federal minimum wage has not changed in over a decade. All right. It has stayed at $7.25 since 2009. The cost of living has increased by 1% to 2% every year. How are we supposed to live on pittance when it costs, a good day's pay just to put one meal on the table? Okay? If they think we can live off of that, then cut their pay. Give them just the average American's yearly salary. All that extra money can go towards funding national health care or college for whoever wants to go. It can be put towards the deficit. There's so much we can do with all that extra money that they say that we don't have the money for. We don't have money to help out, like right now with the COVID, we don't have the money to help out the small families. We don't have the money to help out small businesses. But we can give tax breaks to big corporations. They are getting their pay. They're getting their monthly check. But yet the average American is on the brink of losing their house. They're on the brink of living in their car if their car is not repossessed. But they say we don't have money for it. We have the money, but they don't want to lose what they're getting paid. And like I said, all this is just, it's ideas. There's not a set plan for any of this. And I hate being political. I hate getting this way because the only thing that causes more fights than politics is religion. The three things you never talk about in mixed company is religion, politics, and money. You never want to say, oh, I make, $25 an hour, and find out somebody who just got hired on with less experience than you makes another $1.25 more than you do. So you don't talk about wages. Religion, the United States was never designed to be a Christian country. Even when we were founded, it was from freedom of religion. We wanted to have the freedom to practice whatever religion we wanted, as long as it's not hurt anybody else. You can't do human sacrifices, okay? But practice whatever religion you wanted in any way you wanted, as long as you're not hurting anybody. That was part of the founding of it. But now it's, oh, you're Christian, great. Oh, you're not my Christian. Well, you're not being taught the real Bible then. And there starts the fight. You get Christians and Muslims. That's a fight. You get Jews and Muslims. That's a fight. You get people who practice pagan beliefs or more esoteric beliefs or Eastern beliefs, Eastern philosophies. Because they're not your religion, that's a fight. So, I don't like getting political. I don't like getting religious. I don't push my views on anybody else. So these are just ideas on what we can do to try to make our country better. It's what people can do to try and make any country better. It's a great goal to make your country the best it possibly can be. But for that to happen, we need to make some serious changes. We have to do things that goes against what we've always done. You take a poll in America about the trustworthiness of politicians, and you're probably going to get about 85% of them saying that they don't trust politicians. They're all corrupt. Unless you're completely brainwashed and brain dead because you believe everything that's being told to you. The reason why they're corrupt, why Americans think that, is because that's what we keep electing. We keep electing it because that's what we're used to. We are used to people lying to us. So when we see a politician who says, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, we're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But At least he's better than the next guy, so I'm going to go ahead and vote for him. We should never have to settle. We should have somebody who wants what's best for us, wants what's best for our country. But again, it's tradition for us to vote like this. We could have third-party members that have a better idea, a better grip on things, a better plan to make America great again. But because we don't elect third-party members, we've got like, I'd say about 5 or 6 different political parties in the United States, but it always boils down to either Republican or Democrat. It always has. It always will. Even the GOP, when it was still called the GOP, when it was called the Whig, way back, creation of the country, they became the Republican Party. They're still the same thing. They were called differently, but they're still the same thing. Even back then, it was the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. There was no in between. If we want better for our country, any country, we need to be able to stand up and say no more and actually find the strength to, support somebody who actually cares about what happens in the country. And again, when they get elected, hold them to their promises. Make certain they're coming through with what they promised. This is what you elected them for. Somebody runs saying, I'm going to clean up, the nearby lake. Okay? And if they don't do it, hold them accountable for it. You promised this would happen. You haven't done anything. Hold them accountable for their promises. If you want a better country, you got to have better leaders. And the only way to get better leaders is to elect them. Stop believing in the lies they tell, the bullshit they give you. Pay attention to what's going on. But anyways, thanks for listening, and have a great day.